All right. Hello, everybody. I am very happy to be here with Dr. Michael Nash. Hello, Michael.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking. And I think being up early or late, I don't know, but making this time work.
Whoop.
Oh,
Wait a
already?
minute. There we go. Sorry. I had something open. Yes. Well, actually, it's only 7 o'clock here in the morning. And since I have a vlog that releases at 5 a.m., I've been up for 2 hours. So,
Oh, well, thanks for making
well, what time is it there?
the time. 6:02 p.m. So it's actually very comfortable. We've been up and doing things all day, but yeah, about 6 o'clock.
Okay. And where are you?
I'm in Ranomafana. I'm not in the national park exactly, but I'm in the area in a nice lodge on the outskirts of town. It's very close to
Yeah,
the main park entrance.
I gotta say that looks like 10 times better than where I was when I was in Ranomafana. I gotta talk to Patrick about this. Oh,
Yeah, it's a nice room. It's yeah, I think this place fills up a lot. So because it's just me, maybe it was easier to get a reservation here. But apparently, there's first for Balteadis on the property grounds, and maybe tonight we can go and look for some. So I'll keep you
oh,
updated.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, say hello to everybody in the chat. My goodness, we got a number of people who have come on an impromptu basis. And we
Oh.
even have Tia from Finland.
Oh. Well, thank you for coming. I'm surprised anyone's here. I'm very glad.
Yeah, we specially mentioned Tia because she's on the edge as to whether she can make it in January, and so
Hmm.
she lives with non-chameleon people. We call them Muggles, and so we're working on it. So, all right. Well, let's say I guess we'll just start off. What'd you do today?
Today, oh man, let's see. This has been really good. So last night up until about midnight, so kind of today, I went on a night walk with flashlights looking for chameleons along even the side of the road at Ranomafana. And there's so many here. I lost track of how many O'Shaughnessy we found, or as you've been calling them, shamrock chameleons, as well as Crypticum, potentially Brevicorn. Hard to tell the difference sometimes. Balteadis, first for Balteadis, very high up in a tree. Some Europlatus semeti. Those are
Okay.
really exciting to find. Various invertebrates, various frogs I don't know enough about. So that was last night for several hours. Then today we had a great breakfast at the lodge here. Uh, let's see. After that, then we revisited a number of spots where we found O'Shaughnessy last night in the morning to see where they were, how they had moved, changed from night to day. So that was really cool to see the relative, the small amount of movement they did from
Yeah,
last
tell
night
us
to
about what you saw.
yeah. So really, they were perched all over in various different locations last night. This morning, though, it was probably around 72 degrees, something like that, 70, 72. And humidity was between 70 and 90%. It was raining very softly. It was kind of a drizzle. And the O'Shaughnessy that we found two females and one male that we spotted last night. They were still relatively active. They were climbing around and they seemed fully capable, even though the sun hadn't come out yet, really. It had been an overcast morning. But they were still active enough where they could climb and walk at what I believe is normal pace. I wasn't able to assess foraging habits. No bugs around, or I didn't see them eat, but they were moving around and they were moving probably within 10 feet of where we saw them last night. So that leads me to believe that they had moved relatively little in the morning time, but they still were active. So
Hmm.
that was very cool to see. It seems like they don't require basking per se in the way we think of it, like a heat light hitting
Yeah.
them in order to be active.
All right. Let's see. Nate. Oh, Nate. You want to open a can of worms here? Feature define differences between Brevicorn and Crypticum.
Yeah, I mean that's the subject of a lot of discussion, and hopefully
You
that
just
will
Yeah, actually, Nate, you can go back. I have an interview with Dr. Mark Schertz, who is a taxonomist who works in Madagascar, and we have an entire multi-hour episode on all the different forms in the Brevicorn complex. It's an incredible reference, but get yourself a pot of coffee.
yeah. I mean, I should say that I've been defining it here just for my own sanity as far as trying to classify things. Is the male Crypticum have very blue legs at night, but of course that's a little bit wishy-washy, and for the females, I think it's very hard to tell. But that's what I've been telling myself as a way to distinguish them is that the males have blue on their legs for Crypticum and Brevicorn don't. But that's at this point, who knows? It's go watch the multiple hours of
Yeah.
content about.
Yes. And this is Annabelle saying hello. Annabelle will be with us in January. And so Annabelle, Michael is going in the area that we will with the guide that we are going with.
Good
And
choice.
so,
Yeah, I certainly
yeah.
recommend it. Glad everyone's coming out.
Um, did you find some mini Kaluma?
Yes, yes. Oh man, that's been so exciting. I love Mini Kaluma, of course, and it's
Yeah, that's
yeah.
perfect for
So
you.
we found yes, I've been really excited by that. We found Kaluma ruoloco, Kaluma phalanx, Kaluma gallus, Kaluma TGS mantoi. Yeah,
Yes, Montoy.
yes. I yeah T. However you
I
want to
had to
say
be
it.
trained on that. It didn't come easily.
I've heard a few names, so I like saying TGS Montoy, but it's probably wrong. We found a pair today that the female was not receptive, but the male was going for it. Really fascinating, really beautiful colorations. Every mini Kaluma we found so far, we found at least one instance where it's a pair. Um, where the female is no longer receptive. A number of them, I was actually able to palpate eggs. So a lot of them are gravid at this time. But yeah, lots of mini Kalumas. Those are really fun. I really have a soft spot for them.
There's James Cross. He's sneaking in. James will be with us in January as well.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. Everyone's excited to have you out here, James. So I think you'll have a good time.
So Annabelle has a question. Is it cyclone season there?
It's peak cyclone season,
Yeah.
apparently. Indeed, it is. But I've been advised that there is, you can kind of predict it. There's some cyclone watch app that gives you a little bit of lead time should a cyclone occur. I haven't had means to test that, but yes, it's peak cyclone season. People say don't maybe try not to come here at this time because of it, but I'm very happy I'm here, and it seems like it doesn't have to be much of a problem.
It's not unless a cyclone appears. And if it doesn't, you're doing great and may as well risk it. I think you made the right decision. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah, our trip will be the right before the cyclone season. So when I did January last year, a cyclone was approaching as we were going to the airport. So we were luckily no problem getting out because of weather. So,
Wow.
all right, we talked a little bit about weather, but James is asking, what's the most awesome thing you've seen so far?
Oh boy. Today I had four yellow-lipped Parsons chameleons on me physically at the same time. So that was pretty cool. I had two on my arms and shoulders, and then people brought me some more that I didn't expect. So just the variety of individual parts and I have been really amazing. And the yellow giant male I found, I've never seen a bigger chameleon in my life. That's been fascinating. But those are all showy, awesome things I've seen. But personal things that maybe not everyone feels the same about, but I think are really cool. Number one, I found a small scorpion eating a massive Scolopendra centipede in a tree. Uh, I didn't think that's how that matchup would go, but somehow the scorpion overpowered this incredible giant centipede. It was eating it. So that was really very cool to me. But let's see. The next thing that's of personal interest to me is that we found Brevisia. There's Z and I actually sleeping together, males and females, on the same branch, sort of in a courtship lock. I found that particularly interesting and suggestive of a behavior I hadn't really considered, which is very long-term mating and courtship, which you see in captivity, but it's good to see it in the wild. So seeing them sleeping in pairs, physically touching, it was particularly interesting, given that I keep Rickettsia.
Now, for the people that are going to be coming in January, what are some of the things? This is the first time you've been to Madagascar. Just give them an idea what it's like to get there and be in Madagascar. Talking to the person who may be a little bit nervous about going to this exotic place on the other side of the earth.
Yeah, sure. So I assume it's mostly Americans I'm talking to.
Right now, there's one South African and
Oh,
some Americans.
okay. Well, one thing I found out about recently to answer that question, a lot of folks from Europe come here pretty directly. In fact, there's a 9-hour direct flight from Paris to Antananarivo. And there's lots of people here as just a pretty simple vacation. It's all relative, right? So from the US, it's very long travel, but that doesn't make it a particularly more challenging place to be. It just means that the travel is longer, right? Plenty of people come here much easier than most Americans would. So that gave me some comfort. Like, this is just an easy to access vacation spot for some people. It doesn't have to be some big, far off place for everybody. But as far as getting here, I had to, I got delayed a number of hours in the airport, but everyone kind of knows the deal. If they're trying to come to Madagascar, you're in good company. People have been very friendly in the airports. I made a lot of friends in the airport waiting, in fact. So
A lot of people waiting.
right, it's
If you go through
they
Nairobi and Kenyan Airways, a lot of people waiting.
yes, which is my mistake. That's how I did it, but it's fun actually. People are in your same boat if there's a problem, and so there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of friendliness and kindness along the way. The travel is long, but it's worth it, and it can be part of the journey, part of the experience. I actually view it kind of positively. As far as the area, it's probably different than what a lot of people from North America have encountered, but it's certainly worth it. And the difference in how things are here is really exhilarating and exciting. And having a guide available really softens any kind of discomfort you might have. People here have been exceptionally friendly. The food's good. Even the local food is really, really delicious. There's a lot to like about it. It's just, I think a lot of the fear of coming here is really just, it seems so far away. It seems so distant. And oh, I don't speak the language. And if you think about it, many of those concerns apply to many, many, many countries. It's all just a matter of perspective. So objectively, if you want to see chameleons and you want to experience something exciting and different, um, it's a great place to be. And most of my fears really washed away the second I met my guide, Patrick, at the airport, everything's been really good since. And by the way, I actually missed a flight to get to the next leg of my journey. And I was not sure how to navigate that. I was really worried. Everyone's been super friendly. We made something amazing work out, despite that it could have been devastating setback. So I think that alone really speaks to it being a good place to be. People helped me, staff helped me, of course, Patrick, my guide, helped me. Everything worked out. So even if there is a problem, it's navigable and it's still worth doing.
Yeah, in Madagascar, there's always adventure to be had. Your schedule's okay. So yeah, you roll with it. And I mean, that's just part of that's part of the adventure there.
That's what I meant in a much more succinct way. Basically, time works differently, and that's good. It changes how you think about things, and things can be lower stress if you have the right mindset.
Oops, that wasn't the one I wanted to bring up. How are the mosquitoes and leeches for you?
So I was actually disappointed I wasn't going to Mirajeji, the north of Madagascar, because I wanted to see leeches. I think that's a really cool thing to observe. I've never seen a real life leech. And really, there's not been any leeches until today, where I found a small leech on a leaf. I took a video of it on my hand. I was really excited to see one. I think they're kind of cute. I have not been bitten by any yet. Mosquitoes have been very reasonable. I didn't get a single mosquito bite until last night when I left all my windows open without any repellent or any strategy to prevent mosquito bites. That's the first time I've gotten any bites whatsoever, which is surprising.
I was absolutely floored that there weren't more mosquitoes. I mean, next January, it'll probably be mosquito season, but when I was there, I was just very surprised.
Yeah, not bad at all. And leeches, yeah, no big deal at all. Yeah, but surprising. I realized I actually forgot to take my anti-malarial medication, so I'm going to do that, but I'm still listening. Just one second.
Okay, all right, you go ahead. So, yeah, I actually got some of those clothes, the pants, socks, and shirts that are infused with mosquito repellent, and I wore it sometimes, but not other times, and it just wasn't. I mean, I must have brought gallons of mosquito repellent of different varieties, and just didn't have to use them. So,
Same.
yeah, instead of mosquito repellent, I'm going to bring dog treats next time, because every time I had a meal, I saved a little bit to the side for the dogs, and everybody, the staff is trying to chase the dogs away from the table, and I'm trying to get them to the table.
We fed a stray dog maybe a solid pound of street food yesterday that was very happy.
Oh, yeah.
I did the same with the permethrin infused clothing, and most of my stuff is infused with it. I think it's comfortable to have maybe one or two clothing or shirts infused with it, but I don't think a whole wardrobe is really necessary. And yeah, mosquitoes haven't been that bad.
Yeah. Will we be seeing kids? Yeah, there's families all over the place. It's we will be seeing normal life. We will be going through towns and even Ranomafana, the national parks. There's people living on the outskirts of the park, and you get to see life, and kids are playing. So yeah, gonna get to see the Malagasy life.
Some kids also will help you find chameleons. If you give them like the equivalent of 20 cents, some of them are really good at spotting them, and they'll point them out. So I won't speak to what you're going to do, but I've had a nice experience with the kids helping.
Okay, we'll see. Let's see. In some places, kids swarm you to talk. I wasn't swarmed, although whenever we were in the city, I just stayed in the bus uh, because the street hawkers will swarm, and I just didn't want to deal with that. But there, I wasn't swarmed like I've seen in some areas. Um, now, Michael, where did you go before Ranomafana? Tell us a little bit about your experiences.
Yeah. So I flew in, then we went to Endasi Bay. So we stayed in the lodge in Endasi Bay. So, of course, that takes a drive to get from the capital,
Yeah.
Antananarivo, or Tana, as people say it, like 4 hours, something like that. The drive, you see a lot of Madagascar in that time, and it gives you a good impression of, at least from my limited view, gives you a good impression of the country. But in Andasi Bay, we stayed a few nights. We went to Anala Mazotra, which is a forest pretty close to the Andasi Bay Lodge. There, I think we did a night walk first. While you're there, I hope you're planning to do night walks because those are,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's where you see incredible stuff. It's amazing how much easier it is to spot things at night, which is counterintuitive. But yeah, that was really fun. I guess we did a night walk, or sorry, we did a midday hike at NL Mazotra, and then found a pair of Christopher Parsons chameleons, Brachisia, some Uroplatus secorae, really just lots of amazing things. Then we went back at night for a night hike there after having a lovely lunch and dinner. Then the next day we went to Maromisa, which is a reserve. It's not a national park, but we spent the whole day there, packed lunches, slept for about an hour, took a nap midday at the viewpoint, and then walked back for a night hike. So we spent the entire day in the Maromisa Reserve. That might have been the most incredible day of my life. I saw maybe 20 plus Brachisia, just incredible, Fantasticus everywhere, Uroplatus Fantasticus, Uroplatus secorae, lemurs everywhere, the Kaluma roloco, Kaluma malthae, just gastrotenia everywhere, Kaluma gastrotenia, babies, just an incredible day. We saw a tenrec on the way out. We saw a pair of Furcifer wilsey, a breeding pair. Just incredible. I couldn't get enough of that. Baby Parsoni, at Christopher. Yeah, but basically spent the whole day there. And then the next day we went to Voimana. Voimana is sort of another reserve area. And then spent pretty much the whole day there again. Got caught in a rainstorm at night, but it was good fun. Found first for found Brachisia, found giant, yeah, yellow giants on the way there. That was awesome. Lots of cool frogs. Amazon tree boa, or not Amazon, a tree boa. Yeah, another amazing day there. And then the next morning, we tried to make my flight to Sambava, but due to huge traffic jam that no one could have expected, it took us double the amount of time that we expected. And so then I didn't make it, but then we transitioned very quickly thanks to Patrick's help, and now I'm in Ranomafana.
All right. A little question about yourself.
Hmm.
What is your
Yeah,
research on? What are you a doctor of? What's
yeah.
up with you, Michael? And boy, is this a story. All right. Hold on to your seat.
Yeah. So my PhD, so I have a PhD in integrated physiology and molecular biology, and what this focus is basically the impact of maternal diet, like what your mom eats, on your risk of developing liver disease and immune system dysfunction. And that sounds like a lot, but in short, what the research has demonstrated is that what happens to you in utero, like what your mom eats, what she does, exercise, all of these factors can actually reprogram all of your stem cells in your body, the stem cells are what produce all the other cells, for the rest of your life to set you up for various diseases that you cannot resolve because your stem cells themselves are set up by damaging things that happened to your mom uh, to set up all these diseases later in life. So we find that the only way to fix that is by giving an antioxidant supplement to the mother. So basically, we have this intergenerational inheritance of disease based on what the mother eats, like a high fat, high simple sugar Western diet. And we found a way to keep that from happening, thereby hoping to block diabetes, fatty liver disease, scar tissue formation in the liver, uh, obesity, all these other issues by targeting the in utero period. That's kind of a lot, but basically what your mom does matters as far as your health, and there's lots of different factors there. The other part of the work is I'm actually here to celebrate getting my MD, which will happen in May. So I have a doctor of medicine coming in May, but in the meantime, I have that the PhD as well. So in the future, my work is going to focus on liver diseases, gastrointestinal diseases, with an eye on this early life reprogramming of offspring health. Yeah.
Okay, that is incredible, and that's like the cliff notes. Get this guy on
I
an
also like
interview. But yeah, go ahead.
I like chameleons as well. So I do some work with chameleons on the off time, and I'm interested in chameleon husbandry and UV exposure, the impacts of that on growth, and various other aspects of chameleon husbandry, and some other collaborations that I won't get into, but more chameleon stuff coming.
Yeah, he's got a paper published on UVB, on the effects of UVB on carpet chameleons babies. So,
More in the
is there anything that you witnessed that you think will shape how you care for chameleons in captivity?
big time, yeah. I have lots of ideas as a result of only being here really for a week or so. The all of the things I'm thinking about will probably take a very long time to go through, but I'll give maybe just a few ideas from this trip. Number one, I think other people have commented on this. Uh, it's humid here. It's the wet season, but that's important. It's seasonal, but it's very humid. We have a little hygrometer that we've been carrying around this whole time, measuring the humidity in various spots. And you know, I've been finding chameleons active in the day with 90 to 100% humidity, 75, 80 degrees. I'm if you look at the environment here, there's frogs everywhere thriving in the same exact conditions that chameleons are subject to as far as the environment. Also, there's mold, there's moss growing everywhere, there's lichen, there's fungi everywhere. Just look at the trees, there's mushrooms blooming. It's a wet environment and it's humid during the day and at night. So we keep the humidity relatively low during the day for many chameleon species to discourage mold growth and things like that. But I'm thinking there must be a better way to mimic the conditions here, give them more humidity during the day without giving that harmful mold accumulation. I have ideas as to how we can move forward with that, as I'm sure many others do. But the humidity that they experience here is higher in the wet season than what I think most people consider and try to emulate. That's one thing. There's more.
Yeah. And by the way, Nate, that's exactly the thing I came away with when I went last year. And it's like, okay, how can we do this? Because we're not accurately emulating what they are expecting. Now, I completely understand why we're kind of on in the tolerance range of it because of our captive conditions, but this is going to take, we're going to have to do some experimentation to figure out how we can get our hydration or humidity cycles better to match the natural cycles. And we've got misters, we've got foggers, we've got drippers. How are we going to use those, and how are we going to make those tools better? I think we need to make our tools better.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another thing that people have mentioned, but just seeing it in person, I mean, we are just totally, I think, missing the ballpark here for feeders that we offer. I mean, it's what we have access to is just such a pathetic shadow of what
Yes.
they have access to here. I mean, it's crawling with insects. I think grasshoppers might be one general takeaway I have here. Every single chameleon seems to be eating grasshoppers, and there's grasshoppers everywhere. There's grasshoppers at every strata of the forest. There's beetles everywhere. One thing interesting I've noticed so far, again, other people maybe corroborate, maybe don't, but I've only seen a single bee, one giant carpenter bee on this entire trip so far. Deep in the forest, it doesn't appear to be bees that are pollinating. It seems like there's other things going on, like butterflies or moths or beetles or hoverflies. I was expecting flowers everywhere, but where the chameleons have been in the deep jungle, really, I have not seen them gravitating towards the flowers like I was expecting, uh, which is different. I would imagine that they would go to the flowers and eat the bugs there, but I have not observed that once, which leads me to believe that maybe what they're really eating a lot of is grasshoppers and beetles and things with roughage like that. So I think we've really missed the ball, missed the point here with some of the feeders, and I think maybe increasing grasshoppers or uh, finding some other food source might be beneficial. It's just crickets are not. It's just not the same. There's not enough variety in what we're giving, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree with that. I don't think anybody's going to be arguing that. Um, and luckily, we have that people working on that, like Dean Missimer. He's
Yeah.
specifically working on things like that. So, so we have so much further to go. Oh boy, but hey, that's what's fun. I just wondered, I'm looking at how much we're working on. We are just such at the basic level for hydration. We're just the basic level of nutrition to the point where we figured out how to keep them alive and even breeding. But just gonna imagine where we're gonna be in 30 years
Mm,
if we keep
yeah.
pushing.
Right. Right. Actually,
So
one that I could talk for a long time about. I don't want to take too long, but one thing I noticed today in a big yellow lip parsonii in a jackfruit tree. On one, it looked a very healthy animal. He was huge, just totally massive. But I noticed on his one of his hands or feet rather, he had what appeared to be some pododermatitis, just a little bit of redness around his hand. And I looked closely at his face, and it appeared that there was actually some moss growing on his horn. Um, really closely looking at it, and I haven't worked a whole lot with the nominate form of Parsons. I've worked with Christopher, but I don't know if that's normal or not, to be honest. But there's been a number of parsoni I've seen that actually have what appears to be some kind of moss or some kind of plaque growing on them. And to find one in the wild with pododermatitis or foot infection, um, I wonder if it's actually okay to give them enough humidity where we see stuff like moss growing on them. I mean, if we're observing that in the wild, I don't know. I never would have expected a healthy animal to have
well,
such growth.
I saw I saw mouth rot in Madagascar. I saw uh, abscesses, and I mean, wild is a rough place. Bite marks all over. So we'd have to talk about whether we want to recreate everything we find out there. I know I'd be nervous about any infection or any break in the skin, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah, I mean,
nervous.
I'm not advocating to hose them until we see moss growing on them, but I'm more stating that the fact that such a thing is even possible in the wild, it suggests that what they're exposed to is a higher level of humidity or moisture or something that I think we're really considering. You know, it doesn't mean we have to replicate it per se, but the fact it's even possible is very interesting to me.
You'll see over here. Well, I probably can't see, but those are my shamrock chameleons over there. And I'm working with fogging throughout the day and such, and just seeing what works. I mean, it's working so far, and so I'm experimenting with this 50% during the day, so mold doesn't grow. I realized I've never tested that number. Well, what if I do 80% during the day? At what point, how high can I take it before there actually is a problem? And so this is what I've been working on, and not ready for, hey, everybody, this is what you should do. But everybody going to Madagascar changes you. And let's work on this stuff now. Working with the O'Shaughnessy, that's Ranomafana, deeper forest, and loving. They want it wet all the time, so that may be different than a panther. But hey, we start somewhere. So, what do you have coming up?
My trip is near the end. Tomorrow we're going to start going back to Tana. So we'll probably hit up Ensarabe, maybe Embositra. We'll see how far we get, but hopefully somewhere along the way we can stop for Lateralis again. Maybe we can stop for minor somewhere. That'd be really good. And then the last day we'll go to the crocodile farm in Tana, and then then I'm out of here.
That's it. All right. Well, talk about the food a little bit. Food and hygiene.
So I have a horribly weak stomach. It's like I can't even eat garlic typically without suffering severe repercussions. So I have a really pathetic stomach, and I have to say I haven't been sick once this entire time, and I've been eating street food.
How is that possible?
I don't know. It's shocking. I have a weaker stomach back in the U.S. I don't know what's going on, but I have all sorts of medications just in case. I have not needed one. At least every day, I've been eating at least one meal, just from some local restaurant somewhere, and I've had no problems whatsoever.
Okay. All right. I remember when I was there, I just tried so hard to find the things that were so hot, prepared so hot that nobody could touch them after they were prepared. And I just did that the entire time. But so I did a lot of zebu.
I've been doing a lot of zebu too. I heard you really like the steak at Ndasi Bay, but I do too.
Yes, well, yeah, I actually enjoyed some of the zebu, and Ndasi Bay, that was actually I got some spaghetti there, so that was kind of nice.
So, I was eyeing the spaghetti. Yeah, I
mean, you're gonna have to go back.
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't recommend everyone be super adventurous with food. I'm really shocked I haven't gotten sick, but I really have not. I've been having fruit salad every day. Today I had some. It was like a stew with a bunch of lettuce in there, or vegetables, and lots of zebu. But I've had rabbit, I've had chicken, rice, sausage.
You're
Lots of
having
good stuff.
salad?
I had salad today. We'll see tomorrow how it's going. But yeah,
Wow.
you know,
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm not
it's
recommending it, but it's been good.
I will be avoiding salad, but yeah, I'm going to be keeping track of you and seeing how you're doing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll let you know how it goes. But yeah, I mean, hygiene's been fine. I've had a shower uh, available each day. I mean, the dirtiest I felt was really just traveling here. It's like 34 hours or something.
yeah.
But yeah, it's been. Oh, one thing. Yeah, there's lots of diesel cars here that. I really hate the smell of diesel. It really makes me sick. So that's probably been the least comfortable thing, but that's just me. Diesel's not that big a deal. I'm just sensitive to it. But there's so many countries that have diesel. It's kind of a silly thing to worry about. Just thought I'd mention it. There's diesel cars here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We're going to close up here and let Michael get to his evening. You have any last questions about Madagascar? Throw it in the chat. And Michael, really appreciate you coming by and dropping in and spending some time with us.
Well, yeah, sure. I'm happy to be here. Sorry, I think some of my answers have been kind of long-winded. I'm a little tired, but hopefully it's been valuable so far.
That's what live sessions are for. It's just stream of consciousness. You just do stuff. Okay, it looks like. Did you get to the place? Where was it? With the ringtail lemurs?
Oh, the Anja Community Reserve?
Yes.
No, I'd like to, but I think I'm probably not going to be able to this time. I've seen a lot of good things here. Maybe next time I can do that, but I think probably I won't get to on this round.
Okay. All right. Well, you got a second chance next January. Although I guess you're studying or something.
Yeah. I'll look into it.
Bring your books.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drive time you can study.
That's true. That's lots.
Find them on audiobooks so you can listen to your homework.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. It's not a bad idea, really. That's one thing.
Does Audible.com have all of your textbooks?
I think it's very unlikely. I can look at.
All right, everybody. We're gonna let Michael go. And once again, Michael, thank you very much for hanging out with us. And we'll see you back stateside.
Sounds good. I'll keep you updated how things go.
Bye.
All right.